for Southern Bermondsey since the early 80s. And I think he's with Andrew Neil.
Yes, Hugh, he is indeed. Simon Hughes is with me, so is Fiona McTaggart, a Labour MP who won her seat of Slough, one of the not many Labour MPs in the south of England, outside of London. Let me come to Simon Hughes first. When you and I were on the election results programme last night, you seemed a bit down, even though the result was still a way away. Did you have a foreboding that things were not going well for you?
In the last 24 hours, election day, particularly, I sense that the people weren't coming out in the numbers that we needed to hold our seat, and that Labour was doing better. They made a huge effort in my seat. Hundreds of people came. Fiona, I think, would confirm, as others would, said we were one of the targets. And I sense that people were voting Labour because they wanted to get rid of a Tory government. And of course, the paradox is, it wasn't, I don't think, a personal vote against me or against us locally. They got rid of the MP, and they've ended up with the Tory government.
You had a very strong personal profile. You were what many Lib Dems thought was the incumbent, and the incumbency, because you were well known, had worked hard in the constituency, would have been a huge help to you. But when it came to it, the general swing against the Lib Dems, the desire to do down the Lib Dems, seemed to overwhelm that.
It did. I mean, incumbency will have added to our votes. I'm very sad that all my colleagues who, Liberal Democrats and Liberals, have always had to fight harder to win seats, Andrew, as you know, and fight harder to hold seats.
But you were good at holding them, weren't you?
And we were good at holding that. But the phrase that came to mind last night, and my constituency has strong Shakespeare connections, the whole speech doesn't work, but the phrase works. There is a tide in the affairs of men. And in politics, liberalism was very strong. The first part of the last century, there were Liberal MPs in my area, and then from 1939 to when I won the seat, there were no Liberal representatives. And I've had the huge privilege of being a Member of Parliament for Bermondsey and the old borough of Southwark for 32 years. And we've taken a battering. But the other thought I had that come from a part of the world where there's lots of strong boxing tradition, we had a bruising last night. But that doesn't mean to say that that's the end of a career. Liberalism is as needed as ever, but we weren't able to win the argument. And somebody stopped me this morning and said, people will only in the next few years realise the advantage of having had Liberal Democrats in government, in the coalition, tempering the Tories. And now a Tory-owned government, I congratulate David Cameron and the Tories, but the Tory government is not, in my view, what Britain needs. We need a fairer society, and the Tories never deliver that.
Liberalism in the form of the Liberal Democrats may come back, though it may take some time as well, because you have gone down to, I think it's 8 MPs. But is this the end of Simon Hughes's parliamentary career?
It's a bit early to answer that question, Andrew. After 2 hours sleep, I've always made clear that...
You got 2 hours sleep, you're lucky.
Yeah, I know. I've always made clear that I don't believe in an unelected House of Lords. I have no interest in suddenly being, if anybody offered it, nobody has, but if anybody offered me place of Lords, I don't ever intend to do that. If we had an elected second chamber, that would be a different question. But Labour and us would have wanted that, I hope, but I don't see the Tories about to do that. No,
you won't stand again for the Commons?
No, I haven't made that decision. I know that we have a hugely strong, we have lots of members in my constituency, we have a very strong council group with the opposition to Labour on the council. We want to go on fighting for the things we fought in the election campaign, for the affordable housing that Londoners need, we've talked about often, for a sort of a National Health Service that looks after people properly. So the fight goes on. The fight in Simon Hughes has not ended.
Right.
Yes, I lost the bout yesterday, but I've had the privilege of winning the previous 8 bouts.
And all right, let
there's
me
more life in the old dog.
Bring in Fiona McTaggart. You won your seat. There was about a 1.8% swing to you in Slough, just to the west of London. But the Conservatives got 2 million votes more than Labour nationwide. On share of the vote in England, they got about